evening, everybody, and welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. And you can tell it's still summertime because we still do not have a full house. I thought tonight was going to be the night, but it's just two of us again this week, like last, but a different two. And introduce the person that's here with me this evening, Mr. Scott Carney. How are things with you?
Good evening, Scotia. Yes, hello everybody. Hello chat. Hello viewers. Hello listeners. Yes, just last time I said, mate, two Scots don't make a right, but maybe two Scots do make a right. Maybe that's why it's been left us two again tonight. Yes, apologies for my absence last week. I was not well. I really wasn't well, but back fighting fit now, mate, and ready to get back into the swing of things. And as always, hello chat. Good to see you all.
Yeah, back into the swing of things in Club Live. But before Club Live, you recorded a brilliant show, excellent show with David Edgar from Heart and Hand. How did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it was good, mate. Yeah, it was good. I think people know I'm a bit of a fanboy with Stevie and Davey. I've never had it, mate. They are a massive part of the reason that we have a podcast, mate. So I think it's always good to get David's insight on matters of all things Rangers. Obviously, he's a commercial partner with the club. He's got a bit of an insight. He's got good contacts, etc. And it's just interesting to hear a different perspective from time to time. And I also think it's nice when David Edgar's not a host in the nicest possible way. Not that I think that he's a bad host or anything like that, but it's good for him to be able to just relax and have enjoy a conversation about Rangers. So no, the feedback from it has been tremendous. If you haven't listened to it, please go check it out and leave a comment. Let us know what you think of it. But no, not that David Edgar will be watching this, but I thank David Edgar for coming on the podcast. It was very generous of him to do so.
Yeah, no, like I say, I really, really enjoyed it. I liked it. We kind of went off on wee tangents and things like that, but I like to see kind of growing. The podcast felt very natural. I really enjoyed it. So no, if as Scott says there, if you've not listened to it already, get along and then have a review of that. But stay with us this evening because, like I say, we'll talk about all things Rangers. Now, Carney, I've been pretty lax and kind of keeping up with things this week. I think it's been a fairly slow week. I've been that bad at it that I was in the middle of texting you last night, and before I sent it, I went to just double check to make sure it hadn't happened, but it had. Cyril Dessers was finally announced as Rangers' sixth signing of the summer. Great news. He comes in what appears to be a deal worth around €5 million with 1.5 million euros in add-ons potentially. A 4-year deal. This is good. This has been waiting. It feels like ages that we've been waiting for this to happen.
Yes, mate. This one has took a long time. Well, I don't know if it has took a long time. I was thinking about it today actually while I was at work, and I think we are so used to everything being there and then with social media and with computer games, because like in FIFA you can sign a player in 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't take that many months to do so. But no, this one is one that excites me for a number of reasons that I'm sure we'll get into. But it took its time. It did. It took its time. At times it looked like it wasn't going to happen, but there is absolutely no doubt about it that this was Beale's number one target for the striker. The striker and his team, and he's got him. He's managed to get him. I think so far, from what we're getting led to believe, he's pretty much getting everyone that he wants first time, or that he's number one to maybe one first or second target, no matter what, depending on what you want to believe. But it's an exciting signing, mate. It is an exciting signing, and I think we're okay to be excited by it. I think there's too much negativity at times around the club and the way it has been over the last year. And so far we've signed 6 players, and I don't think we're done yet. This is a very exciting window so far, and Dessers is just another one to add to that list.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get on to kind of some of the other potential signings later on, but we'll stick with Dessers. I mean, we've spoken about him, like I say, it feels like ages because it's probably about 3 or 4, 5, maybe even 5 weeks ago that I turned around and said that I thought this one's imminent. It'll be next week, I expect it. It kind of, like you say, it did have that wee period where it looked like it was completely off. Interested in using another player who we'll go to speak about later on, but I'm really happy that it's done. You know, yes, we've said it before, his stats for Cremonese last season, not great, but take into consideration where Cremonese were in Serie A. You look at his stats for Feyenoord when he was playing like top scorer in that Conference League. No, I'm very excited. And it's the area of the pitch as well, Carney, that we needed to spend, and we needed to spend big, I felt, in that attacking positions.
I'm not shocked that this has been the biggest spend. I think just before we come on in, I think it's the biggest one since Ryan Kent. Somebody can correct me in the comments if we're wrong. But I think I always knew that this would be the case. That if we are going to spend, if we are going to go down a route of actually paying a transfer fee for someone, it will be for the striker position, if not one of the attacking players in inverted commas. So I'm not shocked that we went out and we've spent money on him. But it was critical, mate. It was absolutely critical. With Alfredo Morelos obviously not leaving the club now and obviously not really kicking his own arse for the past season or longer, some may argue, it was vitally important that we got someone that was going to fit the bill. And he looks like he certainly does. The kind of rampaging forward, if you want to use a footballing cliche, but he does look very much like that. I like the style of him. I like his direct play. I think he's kind of both footed, as far as I can tell. I think he can hit shots with both. I've seen him hit shots with his left, right, and I was like, a decent shot on him. Then he hit a penalty with his right on one of the obligatory YouTube videos that I watched, and I was like, is he left footed or is he right footed? So I'm not actually 100% sure what he is. Do you know if he's left footed or right footed?
I don't know, but I quite like. I don't think ambidextrous is the right word. I think that's for your handedness. But ambidextrous.
Surely that means the same. Does that not mean the same thing for your feet? No. Ambidextrous.
Possibly. There's probably a different term for it, but probably someone can tell us in the comments. But yeah, no, I like that in a player that they can do that.
Ambifeatrous. Ambifeatrous. No, but again, the build of him, the strength of him, the type of player that he is, it fits the bill, mate. It fits the bill that Michael Beale was looking for and what we are looking for, I think, ultimately in a striker. There is absolutely no doubt that he's coming here to play. That's one thing for sure. I expect him to immediately go into the starting 11 and probably not look back from there. I think it's easy to get bogged down, as you mentioned, mate, on his previous season and his stats there, which aren't particularly mind-blowing, but overall as a striker, he's doing not too bad. And what's particularly exciting, and another reason that I think that he fits the bill so much, is his assists. He's got quite a lot of assists in his career. I think it's like 42 or 43 assists he's had in his career out of 200 and whatever games it is. And I think that's going to be important when you think of the likes of Cantwell, Lawrence with his back fit, breaking into the box, and he's the one that's laying off the wee balls for them. It's exciting signing, mate. I am very excited by it. And if we're always going to be excited by it because we've just spent money on a striker. It's like a hurrah moment.
Yeah, GD made a good comment there about the size of Dessers, along with like Lammer's big lad, that we're signing quite robust players, it looks like. And you know what? As this summer transfer window is going on, I'm going like, Borna Barisic, do we keep him about a wee bit longer? He could be useful with some of his crosses for the size of players that we're bringing in. I know that'll be to the delight of Ryan when he listens to this back. But yeah, no, I'm very excited with Dessers coming in. I hope he can hit the ground running because I think he could be a very good big success for us. You know, he's coming to his 28 years of age, prime time for him to play, you know, and I think he can come on and prove something in Scotland. You know, we've said, you know, we're going to have the majority of the ball. He's going to get an awful lot of opportunities. I'm feeling really good about this one. It's the first signing really this summer that's really, really excited me. All the other ones have been really good, but this one I think, I'm very happy with it because, like we've said, it's an area of the pitch that we needed to strengthen. Now, in fact, speaking about that area of the pitch, you briefly talked about it with David on the podcast that you put out earlier in the week, and Ryan and Ali spoke about it as well, but I've not had my chance to speak about it, and that was we've got Sima, Abdullah Sima, on a season-long loan from Brighton. Obviously, well known to us because he played against us when we played Slavia Prague. And I actually meant today to sit back and watch our post-match reaction of it to see what we'd said about him, but I stupidly fell asleep watching the tennis on the couch, so I didn't go back to watch it. But again, I'm quite excited by this one, Carney. I don't know if you've got any more thoughts on that one.
No, I agree, mate. I do agree. I think it's... David Egger actually made the point that Brighton are pretty much up there right now with talent spotting, with kind of younger players, and Sima hopefully is going to be one that fits that bill. He's another one that I'm excited to see. I really am. I don't think there's any signing really just now that I'm not looking forward to seeing. And Sima is one of them. He looks like a good player. He does look like a really good player. You never know what's going to happen. I'm not particularly put off by the fact that it's a loan signing. These things are going to happen in football. As I said, we can't go out and sign every single player that we're ever linked with. So these things are going to need to happen, and we need to remember the market that we are shopping in. We are a gigantic club. Yes, we are. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world, but unfortunately, we have to shop in a certain window, a certain section of the transfer window or the transfer market, if you like. So it's just a wee bit of reality check sometimes, I think, with that. But in terms of what I think he's going to bring me, I think he's going to be good. Again, I'm always one for getting, as soon as they sign me and I see them with a blue scarf above their head, I'm like, that's it, they're the best player that we're ever going to see play for Rangers, and it's easy to get carried away, but it's because there's just so many happening just now. There's so many signings happening just now, but Sima's one I'm definitely excited about, mate. I think he's coming here to play. I don't think I've got any real doubt about that. He's coming here to play, and he's obviously going to try and prove his worth in terms to get himself back to the Premier League. I mean, you never know, he might end up staying on with us if that's the way the things are going to fall. But in terms of a signing, and for a loan signing especially, it's one that I'm particularly excited about.
Yeah, I mean, on the Sima one, it's like a player we've played against us before, but you look at some of the players that we've come up against in Europe and look at the kind of money, like the Slobosly going to Liverpool. There's an awful lot of players that we've come up against that are moving for very, very big money, and Sima obviously did move for quite a big sum of money to Brighton as well, so no, excited about that one. Only slight concern, and I did raise this point when we were linked with Dessers at first, is that both Dessers and Sima, Dessers for Nigeria, Sima for Senegal, potentially be involved in the African Cup of Nations, which runs from the 13th of January 2024 to the 11th of February. So probably likely if both those teams go far, which is potential because Senegal are the defending champions and Nigeria always seem to be a team that, are in and about the semi-finals, final stages of these tournaments. Potentially missing 3 games, St Mirren, Livingston and Aberdeen, possibly the St Johnstone game if they both teams make it to the final. So on that, Carney, should we still be looking for someone else to come in out front? And there's obviously a name that we're heavily linked with, in Danilo.
That would be very exciting if we also win for Danilo. Yeah, that one's another one that would particularly excite me. Right now, mate, I'm not 100% sure because again, I feel like he's becoming not a joke figure, but an everyday mention in this podcast is Kemar Roofe, mate. It's all about if Kemar Roofe stays fit, and then it's whether that Beale feels like there's a reassurance there that whatever problems that he's had are as good as behind him as can possibly be. I think he's always going to be an injury-prone player now that the age that he is as well. I think there's always going to be something that might crop up with him, but whether he's at the recovery, if that makes sense, the sense that he will play more times than not, because it was quite clear over the last season he was nowhere near contributing enough towards the team. He hardly played at all, and for a player of his stature and the wage that he's going to be on, it's a decision that the club have to make going forward with Kemar Roofe. He looks fit. I mean, he walked into the training centre, which was always positive to see, without age of crutches or a moon boot or anything along the lines of that. So I think that's maybe where there'll be a sticking point. I'm not sure if we will go out and recruit. I mean, we are still strongly linked with him, but I think, again, it also depends who leaves. I mean, we'll come on to that, I suppose, about players that are going to leave. But right now, I'm not sure. Obviously, I think Danilo is one if we do get him. Again, another one I'm particularly excited about if we do manage to get that across the line. But from what we have right now, I'm right. Okay, I'm happy with what I have just now, and I know that's me putting my eggs in the Kemar Roofe basket, hoping that he stays fit, which is a big hope. I do get that, but we've said a million times before that Kemar Roofe is a quality striker, like an absolute quality striker, but only if he stays fit. They famous last words, but I don't see him buying Roofe, so I believe Roofe will be here. He might go out if they bring somebody else in. I would expect Roofe to maybe move on. Maybe on a loan to buy, something like that to a team. So right now, I don't think that's the area that I would be focusing my attention on. I think I would be looking elsewhere, I think, to bring somebody else in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking about Roofe there. We've obviously got Jolak as well, but I think I like Colak. I think he could contribute next season, but I just get the feeling that Beale doesn't tend to fancy him. I don't think. And again, I said it often enough last season. He never really impacted the game off the bench. He needed to be starting games. Obviously the injury that he had probably disrupted that a wee bit. But any time that he did come off the bench, he didn't really do much. He's one that I could potentially see being an outgoing.
Yeah, that's what I mean as well. With the age that Cholak is as well, he's going to be thinking to himself, I need to be playing first team football. So it might be a decision for him to make as well. I'm presuming, I know for a fact that Bill's going to have had a conversation with him and said where he sees him in the squad going forward, whether it be here or whether it be elsewhere. But it's whether he wants to fight for it, I suppose, because when he gets his chance, maybe in cup games, whatever, early round of cup games, because I'm without getting carried away, I expect Dessers to hit the ground running, I really do. But it's whether he's going to be waiting, bide his time for his opportunity, and whether he can ever get back to that purple patch that he had when he first came to the club, because he was scoring for fun, but he certainly kind of fell off a cliff. Obviously, the injury didn't help matters. So maybe it's a decision for him to make as well. But if out of the front line now, when we come on to it as well, but he would be the first one that I would expect to get moved on, should and when the club decide to start moving players out.
Yeah, I do think that's maybe the case. Like I say, I do like Colak and I do think he could contribute, but I just get that feeling that maybe not so much for Beale and where does he fit in like right now. But well, as you say, we'll come on to the kind of how we think we're going to go forward with the signings we've made so far. But you were speaking there about another position that you were keen on. Would that either be, let's see, midfield or left centre back? What one is it that you're more concerned about?
Probably left centre back, if I'm being completely honest. Being selfish and just wanting to attack all the time, I would like another midfielder as well, mate. Just for a wee bit more cover. But obviously, Cifuentes, is that his name? He's a kind of number 8, so that looks like that is still going to happen. We are still obviously, that one's kind of fell away under the radar since Sima and Dessers come in, but Cifuentes does look like it's still a done deal. I've not heard anything different anyway, that it looks like it's still a done deal. It's just a matter of time now until that's announced. So that, I suppose, kind of bulks up the midfield. But yeah, I think probably defence, mate, as well. I would like one more centre half, left sided centre half. I think I would quite like. We could be doing with our right back as well, but whether Sterling's just going to cover that, cover a kind of number of roles, like a utility defender, if you like, and that's what he's there for. But I expect him to be pushing to start as well. I think we'll see him start more than we probably think. But yeah, I would say a defender. I would say a left-sided centre half, and I'm not going to be shocked if you say you agree with me, mate, because defender at heart and all that.
Yeah, well, not really. For me, the pressing issue, I think, is getting the Cifuentes deal over the line before.
Yes.
Obviously, he's only got 6 months left in his contract, but I don't want to wait until December because I think he played the other night, or he came off the bench the other night for LAFC again. So I mean, he's in mid-season with them. You don't want to sign him really late on, and he's played like a season and a half if he comes in, because you'll need to come in and be like a key player for us. I would like to get him in now so that you can give him a wee bit of rest as and when needed, because we've got Jack and Lundstrom. I was pretty critical of Lundstrom last season, but I do think he started to come onto a game towards the end of the season. So if you've got the likes of Jack, Lundstrom, Raskin, Cantwell, like you say, if Lawrence comes back, Hadji obviously play maybe slightly higher, but we've got like these kind of areas. I think Cifuentes for me is the position that we really need to get and shore up, because at the minute, Davies, I expect him to go. I expect us to get rid of him this summer if we can, get a decent fee in for him. But that would be where I would want a midfield for me, more prioritising that rather than the left centre back. So kind of speaking about that, then, how do you, with the signings that have come in, how do you think that we're going to sort of go about the season next year in terms of formation, lineups? Right now, what's your favourite, your preferred starting lineup?
I mean, looking at it, if everybody is fit, obviously that's a massive if. I think it will be a 4-2-3-1 with a change in personnel within the midfield, depending on who we're playing. depending on how attacking he wants to be within the midfield. But I think the days of a kind of out and out winger type at the club have kind of run its numbers a wee bit. I think we are more attacking midfielders or inside forwards or whatever way you want to look at it. I don't think Beale really wants to play with an out and out winger. So I do see a very dynamic midfield five, if you like, a kind of dynamic midfield five. I don't think he'll ever take away the sitting role. I think Lundstrom, Raskin, Jack, I think they're your kind of three that would be involved in that. And then that's what I mean with Cifuentes, who's very much box to box. Even Lawrence, to an extent, could probably play number 8. So I expect a kind of 4-2-3-1. Obviously, there's everybody speaking about the 3-5-2 or the 3-2, whatever it would be, 3-2-3-2. Is that right? Yeah, 3-2-3-2. I think that's right. When we could play two up front, which again would be interesting to see. And I think that's more horses for courses kind of thing. I think it would be interesting to see in some games, and I expect to see quite a lot of experimentation to an extent within the upcoming friendlies, the upcoming pre-season friendlies. Beale, I would say we're 2 away from recruitment in the way being done, possibly 3, but I think we're 2 or 3 away from that, and I don't think the 7th signing's too far away. I say with Cifuentes, I think that's soon. I would be expecting that generally by the end of this week, but I don't know if that's been delayed because the Dessers one took a wee while to get over the line. That might be announced early next week. But that's my thinking, mate. I think it'll be a more 4-2-3-1 the majority of the time, with the option of moving to a kind of 3-2-3-2, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree that would probably, it would be that 4-2 kind of 3-1 or 4-2, maybe a 4-2-2-2 kind of formation, you know. You play, because right now I would say, just looking at who we've got, my starting lineup, if we were to play a game tomorrow that we needed to win, would probably be Butland in goals, Tav, Goldson, Suter. I'm still struggling with the left back. You know, probably Yilmaz. I think it's time to give Yilmaz his chance. But it's just, like you say, because we're playing so narrow, Barisic gives you that option of bombing up and giving you the wee bit of width on the wing like Tav does on the right hand side. Midfield, Jack, Raskin and Cantwell, and then Lammers, Dessers and Sima up top.
CGM makes it.
I don't have Dowell. No, CGM. I don't have Dowell in my starting lineup. I think Ryan's really, really keen to see Dowell. I think he's probably the biggest advocate for him. But for me at the moment, I don't see where he fits in. He could completely prove me wrong, Carney. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, I think he's another one that's kind of slipped under the radar now, isn't he? He's just kind of, I think he was brought back to everybody's attention when he nailed Alex Lowry in training. In the training videos that everybody's seen, I think everyone was like, "Oh, there's Dowell, yeah." So obviously, it's good to see that he's not scared of getting stuck in, especially in training. But he's probably another one that's thinking, right, it's quite crowded within my position, and I'm going to need to make a name for myself. Dowell could be one of them. He could be one of them that you're kind of shocked by. I mean, even when Lawrence came in, Ali was banging the drum about him. When Lawrence was signed, and quite rightly so. But at the time, I didn't know very much about him, as I say, without painting the wall again and telling you all for the millionth time that I don't watch very much of other football. I'm quite arrogant and just tend to watch Rangers quite a lot, or most of the time anyway. So I still want to see Dowell. Of course, I'm excited to see Dowell as well, but the big shiny new striker is always going to take the forefront of your mind when you go out and you spend money on him. So, but no, you've got a cracking point. You've done a cracking point. Dowell could be a real. I don't want to say dark horse. That's probably the wrong terms, but it could be a welcome surprise. A
Rod Wallace type player.
Yeah, possibly.
A Rod Wallace type player that kind of comes in and just takes everything by storm, and you know, one of those. I quite like that. That would be very good if that happens. But no, like I say, all the signings we've made so far, you know, they look very promising. So what else can we speak about in them? Any more people that you could see coming in, or is it just kind of those? Obviously, we've spoken about Danilo, Cifuentes, and that left centre back. Can you see any other areas where we need someone coming in?
Paul, I don't know, mate. It's a difficult one now because we still don't know about the outs. I think the outs are the point that we'll need to address the situation, because everybody's for sale. We've always said that at the club. For the right amount of money, everybody's for sale. But maybe goalkeeper, possibly. Maybe a third study, if you like, goalkeeper, because as I say, I expect, unless McLaughlin's accepted, that he's going to be third choice. But really, mate, no. If we get the left, depends what happened in defence with the left-sided centre half. If we get that sorted, with Cifuentes coming in, and then if Danilo comes in as well, I'm going to be pretty happy if that's the way that we finish this transfer window with the incomings that we have. Will be yourself, anybody any area that you think, or position that you think that we could be looking at?
The position I think we need to look at is left back for me, because I'm still not entirely sure what's happening with Barisic. If we offer Barisic a contract extension, don't know if we're not going to offer Barisic a contract extension. I would try and get rid of him, get some money back. Not because I don't like him, but not because I don't think he can offer us something. I know an awful lot of people don't really like Barisic because he is a bit of a liability for when we come up against Celtic, the way that we lose goals there. Same with Tav, though, rightly. Their strengths are, what they do for us going forward more than it is defending. But depending on what happens there, I think we're maybe a wee bit light in the left back position. I think someone had made that point in the comments as well, that said, if Yilmaz gets an injury, we're very, very light, because you're then potentially asking Sterling or young Adam Devine to kind of fill in not their kind of natural position. So I'd maybe look there. But no, I think if we can get like Cifuentes, Danilo, and a left centre back, be that Panzo, be that Trusty, I think is another one that's kind of getting banded about.
That's right.
I think we'd be looking pretty solid, and it would all depend on then our outgoings. And we'll speak about our outgoings, Carney, after a word from our sponsors.
After a word from our sponsors, and I'm taking one for the team to give Scotia a wee break from his hosting duties. You can get a wee puff while I do so. So yes, time for a word from our sponsors. It's time to mind your manholes with Manscaped. Everybody's aware by now that nose hairs are a major turn-off. That's why Manscaped have released the brand new Weed Whacker 2.0. With improved blades and motor, you can feel the power in the palm of your hands. Save money and attack your nose and ear hairs by going to manscaped.com and using the code CLUB at 20 to get 20% off and free shipping. Our friends over at Manscaped are helping you enjoy summer's air fresh by using the Weed Whacker 2.0 on all your face hole hair. Also, the Weed Whacker 2.0 will be in all of Manscaped's tool sets, including the Platinum Package 4.0 and the Performance Package 4.0. So no matter what you pick, you will receive the new Weed Whacker nose and ear trimmer. Let Manscaped be part of your daily grooming routine, ensuring no hair is ever out of place. It's time to level up your grooming game. Save 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB at 22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB at 22 at manscaped.com. From below to up top, get the best in grooming at Manscaped. Your nose, ears, body and your balls. What will they do, Scotia?
They will thank you. They will thank you. And we thank
you.
We thank Manscaped for their continued support of the podcast.
We do, and just a quick announcement, Manscaped are staying with us into next season as well, which is absolutely superb. So yes, to everybody that has used our code and wants to go and use our code, please do so, because you're helping support this podcast. And thank you to Manscaped. Very much appreciated.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so as I was saying before that wee promo push there, outgoings. Now, where shall we start? Well, do you want to start with the Wild rumours? I've seen Justin Muir actually put there about Gerrard. Obviously, Steven Gerrard recently just joined that team out in Saudi Arabia. It seems everyone's going to Saudi Arabia at the minute. They're pushing the Saudi Arabian. What is it? Dirham's over in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. I think that's where Ryan is. I think Ryan signed for the Club at 22 equivalent podcast in Saudi Arabia, mate, and he's away there.
The Jeddah loyal.
Yeah, I think that's where he is, mate. Yeah, so no, that's just it's bonkers, really. This whole Saudi Arabia situation, it really is. Everybody knows why they're going there. That's the thing. I just don't really see it having much appeal in terms of a kind of footballing spectacle. Everybody is there for 2 years to get 10 million quid tax-free and then come back home again. So I don't blame players for doing it. I generally don't. I mean, if you offered me 10 million quid to go and work in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, I'd probably take it. But I mean, it's just all a bit, I don't know. It doesn't it's strange. It's just strange. It's just all kind of false. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I don't get I'm not particularly excited by any of it. But Gerrard going there after saying he wasn't. Wonder why.
Yeah, indeed. But obviously on that Gerrard one, there's been a few kind of things floating about that I did pick up on, and I do honestly think these are kind of wild speculation. I think the first one that I kind of seen come out, and to be honest, I don't think there's any substance in it, but it was that Gerrard potentially sniffing about Scott Wright. You know what? Possibly. I mean, I've said before, Scott Wright's a decent enough wee player, but he's not grown from when he joined us. He's not kind of moved on to where I would want him to move on. I don't know about you. So he's one of those players. Jim Sloan, that is absolutely fantastic, mate. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you, Jim, mate. Much appreciated. Good to see you, mate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but like I say, he's not kind of moved on, and I don't see a space for him in the team the way that Beale's going to set up, the way that Beale's brought these players in. So I think Wright going out, probably the right option. He obviously is going to be, you're losing that Scottish trained player, you know, that we talk about. So yeah, is that a reason to keep him around? Possibly, but is it unfair on him, unfair on us? But what do you think about that rumour that came out about Scott Wright? And then thank you, Big Harry. I'm not going to say it. Thank you, Harry.
No. Yeah, thank you, Big Harry. And yes, leave Scotia alone. He's allowed to wear a Scotland top if he wants. The Scott Wright one. If I was Scott Wright and I was linked with Saudi Arabia, I'd be rubbing my hands together. I'd be going, you absolute beauty. How you'll take it. I think this is another one just paper talk, mate. I know absolutely zero about the club that Steven Gerrard has joined. Nothing. Couldn't even tell you what colour strip they were. Not got a clue, mate. Literally no idea at all. So I think it's an easy link. I do. I think Scott Wright isn't going to be one that continues on at Rangers. I think he will be one that has moved on. I think he was linked with Preston for a while, and obviously nothing's really came of it. So I don't see Scott Wright sticking about, and I do think it's I think it's paper talking, clickbait more than anything else, mate. To be honest. I mean, if it's true, if I was Scott Wright, I'd be biting Gerrard's hand off. I really would. As I say, there's no disrespect to him, but Scott Wright's always one of those players that I really wanted to work out, mate. I've said it a million times before. Any player that comes to us from Aberdeen, I want to be a roaring success because it does my stepdad's head in, because he's an Aberdeen fan. So no matter who it is, and that's not only why I love Ryan Jack, but it is a part of why I love Ryan Jack, because he absolutely detests him as well. So it helps me love him even more. But Scott Wright will move on, I think, from Rangers. I don't think his future is at Ibrox next season or beyond. Even if he is to stay, I think he's one of the ones that's probably been told that you can find another club. You're not really going to fit the style, and it's a shame. It's one of those ones that just didn't quite work out for him. He had a few important goals for us, no doubt. No, a Scottish Cup winner is nothing to be sniffed at from a player, so you can't really take anything away from him in regards to that. But it's just one of those ones that I think he will be moved on. But to Saudi, I don't know. We need to wait and see about that one, mate. It's the other one that I think's even more ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah, no, on Scott Wright, you mentioned that the goal in the Scottish Cup final, but he also set up Kamara for the first goal against Leipzig at Ibrox as well.
Yes.
Had an important impact in that latter end of the season. He has given us decent moments, Scott Wright, but like I say, probably just not got to the level that I think perhaps we wanted him. Hope that he would, maybe when Gerrard was here, hope that he would. But yeah, the more ridiculous rumour that came out as well, and this I didn't reply to this in our group chat because I was like, you guys are having a laugh. But some of our group chat seemed to be quite keen on this idea. Not for me, I say, but that was the rumour that Tav was the other player that they were looking at. I wouldn't want that to happen. Don't know about you.
No, I wouldn't want that to happen either. To be honest, look, if it's going to happen, and if there is any ounce of truth in it, then Gerrard knows that he's not going to come in here and put £3 million down the table and Rangers will accept it. James Tavernier is very much settled in Scotland. His family are settled. He's happy here. He's a massive part of this club. He's a Hall of Famer, all of the above. So it would have to be a pretty significant offer for us to even consider it. There he is, Justin Muir. Thank you so much, mate. Really do appreciate it.
As Ali's not here, God bless America. And that's
God bless America
as well, isn't it?
He's thanking me for Monday because me and Dave have been sidetracked here. Remind me where I was, and I'll come back to it. Me and David Edgar were talking about how much we're a global club, and I mentioned that Justin and Andrew tune in with each other, and one lives in America, one lives in the UK, and they sit and they watch the pod together because it's the only time they can do it, which is that's brilliant, man. It's absolutely class. That still blows my mind that it happens. But Justin, thank you very much, mate. James Tavernier, I remembered where I was. It would need to be a silly amount of money, mate, because he's our right back, whether people like it or not, and I know a lot of people don't, and it hurts people, but and it really upset people when you say it. But James Tavernier is our captain, James Tavernier is our right back, and James Tavernier starts every game that he's fit enough to start, and it is as simple as that. It's not going to change anytime soon, and this season for me particularly not. I don't think there's any danger that Tav is our starting right back. Hence why I think, what I was saying earlier about the formations, that we'll see 4-2-3-1 more than often than not because it suits Tavernier. But as I say, every player's for sale. If they come in with 12 million, 10, 12 million, I think the club would have to accept it, and then it would be up to James Tavernier from there. You would have to accept it. You can't turn that down for the age that he is, the stage of the career that he's in. His career that he's at. You can't turn something like that down. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's just absolute paper talk again, mate. It was one of those ones when I seen, I just went, no. I kind of poo-pooed it in my own head straight away. I went, that isn't going to happen. What's your selling price for Tavernier, mate, to Saudi?
Oh, right now, I'm more than 12. I'm going 20 million. 20 million. Because
20 million?
Tav had a person. Well, I'm selling Kamara for 6 million. Remember, mate. So
that's true.
I'm chasing the money. I think Tav, by his own standards, had a poor season last year. Obviously, again, similar to Lundstrom, towards the end of the season grew into it. But was that a hangover with how well he played the season before? That was a long season. With that run to Seville. I was expecting a wee bit of hangover from the whole team, but the whole team kind of 20p Curry Muncher. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Curry. Come on, Curry. Pull your socks up.
But that's a wee bit as well. Like, obviously, we've got Sterling and Devine there, but I don't know if we need to kind of future-proof that right-back role more, or we change the way that we play the right-back, because obviously Tav's been a bit of an anomaly, and it's maybe similar to Kenny Hutton in that regard, that it was a player that done something completely different, played, how important he is in terms of goals and assists. But yeah, like you, I think that is complete fantasy and rumour mill going mental. Twitter coming up with crazy ideas. I honestly don't think that the amount of money that's flying around in Saudi Arabia, I don't think the Scottish Premiership is going to be a massive market. Let's just put it that way. There's been one that's moved already, but I don't see them coming in for many more.
Yeah,
in terms of other,
you did mention Twitter there. Just so everybody knows, we're keeping up with the youth, with the kids. We're on Threads, everybody. So the new Twitter equivalent, if you can give us a wee follow on that'd be much appreciated. Sorry, Scotia.
Can you explain to me what Threads is? I've seen someone mention it.
It's Instagram's alternative to Twitter, because Twitter is it's becoming a bit of a farce, really, with Elon Musk. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a joke now, what's going on with that side. So Threads is the equivalent. It looks pretty much exactly the same as Twitter does. Pretty much the same kind of thing, to be honest. But yeah, it's an alternative to it. I think there's quite a lot of people signed up to it, to be fair. All Rangers pods and media and Rangers are officially on that as well. So, but I'm just letting everybody know we're on Threads. So if you're on Threads, give us a wee follow. Thanks very much.
Gallant Pioneer, no, you're okay there, Gallant. No, I'll need to. I'm not signing up for that, Gallant Pioneer. Not for me, but I'll
that's Ali's app
up for Threads.
Yeah. That's Ali's favourite app. That one.
Yeah, but in terms of obviously those are the wild rumours, but with obviously the other players that you expect to leave this summer. There's one that I kind of think might, that I'm gutted to say might, but who are you kind of expecting?
If I'm going to need to guess, who you think gutted that might be leaving? Yanis Hadji, mate. Yes, Yanis Hadji. Yes. I think he's a strong candidate, mate. I think he's in that bracket of moving on. Yanis Hadji. There's a number of reasons for it. One, off the bat, mate, I will say I think it would be pretty unfortunate for him. I think he quite likes the club. I think he likes to be here. He clearly has fallen in love with the club, but ultimately we don't really get to see what's going on behind the scenes in terms of his actual fitness, because we all know that he's from what we've seen at the end towards the end of last season, he wasn't really close to being completely match fit, and now he's playing in an area of a pitch that we have a lot of options, and it's options that money have been spent on. So I can see Yanis Hadji moving on. I can. I think he's an asset in terms of his name. And in terms of the quality of the player that he is as well, I think Yanis Hadji's a good player. I've absolutely no problem with saying that. I think his pace is always going to be his problem, but the lack of pace is going to be his problem. But he's a good player. He's with a very, very good attitude. But I think he's one of the assets that we could cash in on in order to balance the books, if you like, in order to kind of balance the books. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Yanis Hadji moving on, even when I seen him getting linked with. Who was he linked with? Was he linked with who's he linked with?
I think it was Lecce. Someone said, but I think that was
right.
Again, that was that there was no substance to that.
And he'll always be linked to Galatasaray forever. So it's a good bargaining chip for the club because they know Galatasaray will pretty much pay anything because their marketing team would have an absolute ball getting Yanis Hadji. So yeah, but I think if Yanis Hadji's probably in the group of players that Rangers would be not difficult to deal with in terms of agreeing a fee for him to move.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ali had mentioned this at some point during the season last year, and I was kind of grudgingly going like, you know what, if a decent offer like some of the people in the comment are saying there, then yeah, you probably do let him go because, like you say, we are kind of top heavy. But I look at Hadji and I think he's got a place in our team. It's one of those ones, obviously league priority, but you want to do well in Europe as well, particularly if there's this option to get into the Club World Cup in New York the following year. We want to do quite decent in Europe, and I think Hadji would suit that kind of being in a European side. Like Blue Jester there said, Hadji would do better in a slower place league. Totally agree. Similar to Kamara in many respects, I think, and with that, I think he'd fly in a league, and I think he's one of those players that we'll definitely see move on in the summer because we probably do need to loosen up a wee bit of the wages if we're going to get the likes of Danilo in. But I mean, that's something we, as fans, we always forget. Where's your wage budget sitting at? Obviously, I would imagine Butland's on quite a hefty wage.
The Muir family absolutely doing us an absolute solid tonight, man. Thank you so much,
Muir, thank you very much.
That is very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much, mate. That's absolutely great. Thank you so much. Yeah, what did you say? Sorry, I got distracted because I drew put that in.
I know. I was just talking about Hadji in terms of like better in a slower place league, but being good for European games and
yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think that's why he kind of he was good in Europe for us. I think he was another one that had a bit of a purple patch for a while, and then he kind of dropped off before his injury. I think people forget that he wasn't playing particularly well before he got a really bad injury. Thank you very much, Finlay, as well, mate. That's very much appreciated. Thank you so much. He wasn't playing particularly well, and obviously when he's come back, people are seeing what he is just now. I think pre-season, if there's ever going to be a pre-season that's critical to a player in the history of football, for Hadji, this one is massive for him. This pre-season has to go well for him. I'm not saying that I don't see a place for Hadji and with Rangers going forward, because I do. I think he's got a hard task in front of him in order to get into the starting 11 based on who we've recruited. We are going to play at pace. We're going to be quick. I think it's quite evident that we're going to be looking to move the ball quickly as well. And I'm not sure that's going to 100% keep up with Hadji, or Hadji's going to be able to keep up with it, apparently. Alternatively, even so, it's I would be gutted to see him move on because I really like Yanis Hadji generally. I really, really do, but might be just another one of those circumstances surrounding it and the injury that he's had to go through, that it just makes sense for both parties for him to move on.
Yeah, I think one of the problems for me with Hadji and the perception that I think a lot of people have, obviously his pace, he is slow, but it doesn't help that he was playing in like the kind of right attacking area when we were kind of transitioning from Candace being out there as an out-and-out winger to moving more into the inside forward 10s. I think he's better in that inside 10 role kind of thing, but like you say, we've got an awful lot of players that can play in that position. So, yeah, potentially Hadji would be one. We spoke about Kamara, Cholak potentially, obviously Davies, I reckon we'll probably try and cash him. It's just not worked out for him. The other one that I think we'll probably look to cash in on, Carney, and you'll be delighted with this, it's probably Rabbi Matondo.
Hallelujah!
Just hasn't worked out. It just hasn't worked out with Matondo last year, did it?
No, it didn't, mate. No, it didn't. I know, I should say, I'll always caveat what I'm going to say with that. I never want any Rangers player to be a failure when they come and play for us. Never, ever, ever. I always want it to work. But this one, it baffles me. It does baffle me. Obviously, the initial thing that we seen him against West Ham, wasn't it? West Ham?
Yeah, but
that game he played really well. He was fucking superb, but he's never get anywhere near that again for me. He's not even been close. It's another one that's just not worked. And not every signing is going to work. Let's be honest, it's never going to be the case. But I think we spent, what, $3.5 million on Matondo? Is that right? 3 million, $3.5 million?
Yeah, I think so.
So, in terms of return of what we've had from that, we've had zero, in my opinion. We've had nowhere near it. And yeah, Gallant Pioneers just said he's on quite a significant weekly wage as well. So
yeah, no, that's the big one for me. That's what I'm saying about the offload him, because I don't think the Danilo deal happens unless you offload. I think he's on something. I heard someone said something maybe up to about like 26 grand a week. No, that's very, very high. But I don't know how true that is. We don't have the insights to that, so that's just speculation from our part. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was on a high wage.
Yeah, I think he probably is. Yeah, I think he probably is. It's one of those scratch your head moments for Ross Wilson, that one. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's a signing that's never worked, and okay, the first glimpse that we seen of him, it looked like it was going to, but then we seen him time and time again after it, and it was like, who is this guy? Look, whether he's had a crisis of confidence as well while being at the club, and he can't really get any sort of form back, and that seems to be affecting him, then yeah, but these kind of things happen, and it's not, I mean, it is football at the end of the day. It's not always going to work, but he's a very, very frustrating player for me, and a player that I would be very happy for him to move on. I think that money can be spent much better elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking at the time. I can't quite believe that we've managed to get 47 minutes in so far. I was really worried that we were going to struggle for things here. But something you'd mentioned in the group chat, I've not actually watched this. So do you want to tell us about the Jack Butland press interview? I've not watched it yet.
There's going to be a few coming out over the next couple of weeks. I believe I heard that in Heart and Hand. They'd said that there's going to be a few coming out coming weeks with players and probably the manager, I would imagine. But Butland was the first one to come out and speak really to the press in the press conference like way, if you like. I just like the way he talked, mate. I think he was very impressive. He's a very handsome man, and I think he was a kind of breath of fresh air almost, to the extent where he was very aware of us. He was very aware of Rangers. He was aware of our interest. He said the interest has happened before, but nothing really came to the point where he had to make a decision on it. And he knows what. And obviously, when the decision came round for him to come, then he pretty much justified his reasons for coming, which I thought was not important for him to do. But obviously, we're all very aware that he could have sat down in England and got paid 70, 80 grand a week to be a third choice goalkeeper and never play a game of football, and possibly win things. And he said the reason that he joined Man United was because obviously it's such a huge club to be part of. It was a club that he supported as a kid, so he had the chance to go there and train and be part of it, which is absolutely fair enough. But the biggest thing for me was what he just clarified, that we all probably believed was the case, that he wants to come and play football. He wants to be part of the team, not just the squad. He wants to be part of the team and to win things. And he says this club is all about winning, and yeah, it is. And he got that absolutely spot on. I just thought we should just quickly mention it, mate, because it was quite an impressive first press appearance for him for Rangers, and I liked everything that he said, and it's good that he's confirmed that he's here for the right reasons, mate. Don't get me wrong, Butland is on a wage. There is absolutely no doubt about it. He's going to be on a significant wage in order for him to be not convinced, but for him to make the decision as easy as possible for him to come here. But he is our number one. I don't think I've got any doubt that he will be number one next season.
Yeah, no, I'll as I say, I'll need to go and watch it. It sounds pretty interesting. And you know what, with Butland, it's grown more and more in me as the summer transfer windows went on, because I think everyone knows that I was quite comfortable with McCrory taking the gloves and going forward. I know an awful lot of other people weren't, but the Butland one seems to, it's grown more and more on me as we go on. So yeah, I'll go and check that one out. And Aldo McNaught, thank you very much from day one, back in the days. What was it? Was it this mirroring game that you and Ali done the very first pod?
Oh, I've got no
Obviously,
idea.
Why
are you asking me things like that? I've got no
sure
idea.
It was a St Mirren game, and was that December 2020? I think it was.
Yes, yeah, it would have been. Yeah, started December 2020, mate. Yeah, that's when we started. Yeah.
I know, it's been a pleasure.
It literally seems like a lifetime ago that done it. Like, actually feels like I can't remember. I can't remember not doing this podcast, if that makes sense. I don't remember my life without the podcast.
It comes into it so easily. It's probably the same. Like, obviously, you've got a son. It's probably the same. Like, you can't remember your life before that. It's just it becomes something like Jim Sloan. Once again,
what are you doing? You've already done that.
Jim.
Thank you very much, Patreon, Jim. Scott. Are you thinking about it, mate? I'll quickly answer this. I look, the Patreon's a difficult one, right? It really is. I don't ever want to lose sight for why we do this. I can't thank you enough for the way you support us. And generally, I mean it. The money that you give us, the money you pay, you donate, whatever. It all gets pushed back into the pod one way or another. And it also gets pushed into the club anytime we've got enough to do so. So I can't thank you enough. This is all about us just literally sitting having a chat with each other about Rangers. Me and literally my three mates that I go to football with. So I don't know, mate. My honest answer is I don't know. I honestly don't know, because this is... I love this. I think if we were ever to move that and to do more, then we would probably need to recruit people and all that. I don't want to bore the life off you, because we've all got full-time jobs outside of this, mate. I've got a boy, I've got family commitments, work commitments, etc. So a missus that sometimes likes to see me. Don't really know why, but sometimes she likes to see me. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's kind of up in the air just now, but even if we did, I want to say that for certainty right now, even if we did decide to move to Patreon, this show here, live on a Friday night, would never change. We would always be here on a Friday night. So don't worry about that. We would always still be about. There would always be a free pod, at least one free pod anyway. So, yes. Is your missus a Rangers fan, Scott? Yes, yes. Yes, she is. Yes, yes.
Priorities. You've got priorities.
And I thank her dad for that, because the rest of the mother side of the family are all Celtic fans. So yes, she is a Rangers fan.
Excellent. Right, no, yeah, that's just nearly there, Mark. But Carney, I wanted to finish up with, obviously this week it was announced that there is another friendly for our pre-season warm-up. I think this will probably be it. I've not, as I say, I've not been keeping up with everything.
This will be it.
Yes,
this will be
going to be it. Yeah. So we were announced earlier in the week that we will play Olympiacos at Ibrox on July the 26th. That's a Wednesday evening, the week after the Alan McGregor testimonial, which I've seen Gallant Pioneer earlier in the comments put up that is now officially sold out. Rangers have sold out that game for a testimonial. That is absolutely fabulous. Carney, I'm really looking forward to this this game. As I've said before, I don't really know what to expect from it. Is it a testimonial? Is it going to be part of pre-season? But full house at Ibrox on a Tuesday night, and just little over a week away.
Yes, mate. Yeah, it's not long now. Not long to go now until we officially get back into things. Yes, I think it's going to be about half and half, mate. I think obviously Rangers played their closed door games today as well against a Livingston team. The Livingston team that was mixed, the first team and the B team, and it finished nothing each. So I see it being a bit of an experimental thing. I reckon there will be absolutely roll on, roll off subs kind of situation. I don't see it being a too strict game, if you like. I think the rules will be relaxed slightly, and unfortunately I am not going. I have family reasons for me not going, but I won't be able to make it. Justin, mate, thank you so much, mate. What is it, the heat tonight?
God bless America.
God bless America. 2 in a row. You've had to say God bless America. Justin, thank you so much, mate. Thank you so much. That's very much appreciated. Yeah, so unfortunately I'm not going as it stands anyway. I'm not going as just now. As I say, for for personal reasons. Gutted that I'll be missing it, but as I say, some things you have to put first. But yeah, I think I'll do my best to make sure that I see it, and I'm really looking forward for the football to kick off again. But for Rangers fans to do that for Alan McGregor, am I surprised? No, because that's who we are.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to it. Really, actually hoping that get to see Tonali. I mean, that's probably one of the signings of the season, the summer.
Was that because he used to play in the bloody Serie A, man? Honestly,
well, Milano had to sell him, or they punted him. I don't think he really wanted to go, but that's a cracking signing for Newcastle. So looking forward to that one. And we promise you, everyone, 4 of us should be back at some point next week with a very special show leading up to that game as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. But the Hamburg game, Carney, that one's looking exciting. And obviously, I don't know, have we announced it in the pod? Do you want to announce it in the pod for the Hoffenheim game?
We're going to Germany, yeah. We'll see where the Olympiacos game got announced, right? I breathed a sigh of relief. I really did, because anybody that is going to Hoffenheim will know it's not the easiest place to get to. I mean, well, it's not difficult, but you know what I mean. It's not a case of you fly to a city and you walk to a football stadium. It's not really like that. So, I was like, see if they announced, like, I don't know, something easier. I would have been like, of course, that I've decided to go to the one that's slightly more obtuse and to get to. But no, yes, possibly 4 of us, but 3 of us are definitely going to Hoffenheim. But Scotia's yet to make up his mind, but me, Ali, and Ryan have already booked up, so very much looking forward to that, mate. And the Hamburg game, that's the one where I know things are nearly there, because I'm buzzing for that. I'm buzzing to see the Hamburg fans and that as well, mate, and interact with them. Hopefully we get to see a few down Paisley Road and the pubs and stuff. That'd be really good to see. There's a great relationship between the 2 sets of fans and the 2 clubs, so that's when that's the one that's marked in my diary, mate, is the 22nd. I cannot wait for that, mate.
Yeah, no, like I say, that's almost only a week almost away until we're back at Ibrox. We're back talking almost daily about the football. Like I say, I've maybe taken a wee bit of a step back this week, not really looked at anything, but no, that's definitely going to change in the next week or so. I think that'll do us, Carney. So I want to thank you very much for your time this evening.
It's my pleasure, Scotia. Absolutely my pleasure, mate. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you all the kind comments after me having my wee rant about my wee say about the pod and where we're going to go with it, and all the donations as well. You're all bonkers. But it means the world to us. Generally means the world to us. Hope everybody enjoys their weekend, and as Scotia said, we'll hopefully be back with a wee special next week before the McGregor game. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yes, like Carney says, thank you very much for everyone in the comments for getting involved. Thank you to all the people that donate. And as always, if we could just ask if you could tell all your friends, like, share, subscribe, and promote this podcast so that we can grow to the next level. It's a pleasure speaking to you every week and when we can at other times. We have been Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.